Okay, so firstly, what have we decided what we're going to talk about?
Yeah, so I think, like I said, the intro, who you are, what you do, you take it from there.
Right, Tony.
Me.
Well, what's
Yo,
what's a general intro? A general intro. of this
Oh,
podcast.
I mean, are we having like an intro, like what we say?
Well, like a welcome to structured nonsense.
Yes.
Three brown boys trying to achieve a property. Sponsored by
DG Property.
Indian man in between two black guys.
It's a weird Oreo.
Oh,
It's a
shit.
very weird Oreo.
Okay.
Chocolate Oreo.
Right, let's get like slightly then back to topic. We'll start with you, Kai.
Yeah, so my name is Kai Ngamate, investment sales broker at DG Property, and my main focus is filling stations. Been working on it for quite a while now. Yeah. That's me.
I'm Damon Pillay. I am in the leasing division of DG Property. I focus on retail leasing. Pretty much anything that comes across my desk, I'll sell anything if you ask me to. But yes, mainly focus on shopping centers and retail leasing.
I'm Brandon Hogan. My main focus is industrial property, so warehouses, factories. That's my game. Probably started in property April last year, April 2023. So got my feet a little bit wet, almost a year and a half in the game. Well, a little over a year and a half in the game actually. And yeah, it's
I didn't
been
know we were supposed to give like a whole background. When did you start?
When did I start?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like March last year.
March of last year.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm fairly new to it then, because I only started in August of this year.
hey man. But I think that's the kind
No,
of the
September,
cool
September,
thing.
not
That's like the cool thing about
83
it.
days.
83 days. 83 days.
That's kind of the cool thing about it. Like this industry, you can kind of jump in whenever. I mean, we're 30. You just turned 22 yesterday, so it's cool that you can jump in whenever.
Fresh knees, fresh back.
I am still accepting gifts, by the way.
We ain't giving them. I mean, I guess property is probably the big thing that unites us on this couch. It's like, how's it been like for you, Kai, for instance, from March till now, as far as property is concerned, how much you've learned, the ups, the downs?
Yeah, I think it's it's a big learning curve. You do have to take a lot of responsibility, as I'm sure you guys know. You know, you have to hold yourself accountable. The biggest thing for me actually has been building relationships. I mean, you can learn something from literally anybody, even if they haven't necessarily been in the game for long. I mean, obviously experience pays its dividends, but you could literally be here for 2 months and you could be making a chuck ton of money already.
Yourself, Dave? Obviously being the newest to the game.
Property is a very strange game, and coming from like the bank and logistics and stuff like that. Property, I feel like there's moments where people move very quickly when you're talking to someone in terms of like a space that they want or a thing that you're offering them. They move very quickly, and then the next process moves very slowly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a very strange environment. Like I'm appreciative of the work environment that we have. It aids in pushing like your creativity forward. You got a lot of help. You got a lot of like guidance, especially being someone new to it. But the industry as a whole is just a very strange thing.
No, I can agree with that, especially the pacing. The pacing of, as you said, like sometimes one process is super quick, the next process is super slow. I think the thing I've learned for sure is like, like being if you're a single guy at the club and you're talking to girls, it's numbers. It's all a numbers game. Like
Yes.
you can speak to 47 girls and you get 3
Yeah.
numbers, and that's like the property game in my head.
And you winning.
Yeah, you win. Listen, those 3 you get.
And out of those 40 girls, I only take 2 on dates.
But one decides to actually date you back. You know?
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
pure
numbers.
numbers. That's all it is. You can literally, you have those deals where you thought were right at the 11th hour, were about to sign it, and then gone.
Yes.
She ghosts you.
The mat gets ripped out from underneath you.
Yeah. I think it's such a big patience game also. I mean, like you said, you have stuff that's kicking off and it's looking great, and next thing it gets taken away from you. The opposite of that,
I was
though,
about to ask actually to say the opposite.
the opposite of that, though, is stuff can be looking very dim and very slow, but then it's a
All of a
turn.
sudden.
It's the turn of the handle, and you literally back on it again. So
In your time in property, okay, for both of you, in like your time in property, on the days where you thought something was at the finish line and then boom, trip at the last minute, and now you're not finishing in the position you wanted to. How do you deal with that? Like, how have you guys learned to deal with like the disappointment of maybe a client changing their mind, landlord changing his mind?
I think for me it's funny because like I'll only really acknowledge the contrast at home because like I'll drive into the office blasting music and then that deal goes south, then I'll drive inside. Not a song. I don't want to hear a radio station. I don't want to hear a song. I will drive home in complete silence. Not a single sound. Get home. I think I'm lucky enough that obviously when I get home, my kid is the first person I see, and he's doing this thing now where he gets hyped to see me. So I look at him and be like, we live to fight another day. Like, there's nothing we can do. Dust off off and just keep on swinging. That's it.
Yeah.
I think the plain way for me is to keep stuff going all the time. So even if something does go south for me, which is terrible, to make sure you always have stuff on your plate to do, keep your mind kind of activated. It does feel terrible when something does go wrong though. So I mean, you just have to you learn to deal with the disappointment, I guess. You can't teach someone how to accept
that's
that
fair.
feeling.
Because I think also kind of probably having played cricket for as long as you have, you kind of have this game you don't win.
Yeah.
So you've got that in your head of like, I think we all played sports, at least on a school level. So we kind of all had the feeling of we've lost this game, we didn't think we would lose it, it was looking great, we played well, but you just lost anyway. Like you can do all the right things and it can still completely crash out, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of sometimes tough because I know for me, for instance, I know I can sometimes hyper focus on that one to try to get it right, and then it doesn't, and you can say to yourself like I should have done more.
Yes.
What more could I have done?
Start playing the what ifs and then it's
Yeah,
terrible.
and it just doesn't really lead to much.
And how do you come back from the disappointment of it?
So you guys know, recently had a deal fall through. I took the Monday to be depressed and miserable to myself. But it was pretty much like having everything else that's on my list and then saying to myself, okay, fine, you've lost one, doesn't mean you've lost all. And then, just start shuffling through, getting your things done day to day. And as you said, you can be having the worst day and then at a turn of a handle, the world opens up for you again. And it was literally like that. From losing one deal, it opened up 4 others.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just the knowledge that there's always another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The best deal is the next one. So it's always about moving forward. It's always about remembering that, and instead of just wallowing in the sadness, like you're not gonna fix it. It's gone. It's done. Clients change his mind.
100%. I think the other question I have is like, to you guys, what made this industry enticing? Like, as opposed to, because I know I studied varsity, but I study psychology, but what I'm doing is it's different. Obviously, it's not the lane of psychology, but I still use those skills every day with dealing with people as much as we do. But what made you guys go, yeah, property seems like a good thing to go into?
I think the big thing for me, and what everybody will look at when they get into property, is the amount of money you could make.
Of course.
Yeah.
And
That is
That's like
short
good.
span.
yeah, in a short span of time, for me, I was like, the money that I could make doing this, opposed to a 9 to 5 or whatever else, I was like, this is something I need to be in. I'm gonna learn it as much as I can, and that's what I'm there.
I guess I agree with that as well, because coming from the bank, where it's rigid, you start at this time, you finish at this time, you maybe get your weekend shifts, but it's not really too much outside the box thinking, or there's not too much creativity. You got a template of how you deal with things, and that's how they go. Whereas with property, I feel like I have more of a platform to express. your creativity comes out in terms of putting a tenant in a place, or finding a place, like seeing a place and like standing there looking and you go, what, actually this would work perfectly for that type of restaurant or that type of thing. So it allows me to express in that way. And then I guess just the general working environment where you'll come up with something and be like, hey, I got this, what do you think will work there? And then we come together on that, and then same with you, I think that's what drew me to it, and Michaela gave me the heart song.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Michaela sold it.
I think on top of it also is like, for me, I've just thought, imagine me driving down a road 10 years from now, and I'm just like, I saw that building.
I know I've noticed with me, I look at driving completely differently now, because I'm looking at the buildings like, ooh, that building was pretty interesting. Ooh, there was a number on that one, I should give that one a call for sure.
I met the guy that owns that building.
Yeah, I think that has changed for me. I think the one commonality with anyone in this industry is like, we're daydreamers, man.
Yeah.
Like in a good way, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you've got to not necessarily have your head in the clouds, but we're thinking big.
Like the other day when we had that conversation about like, let's estimate how much combo we'd make if we sold Gateway.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like, you don't have a rent roll or anything, but we're just kind of estimating like, oh, maybe they pull in this much money, maybe our com would be that much.
Yeah, for sure it's like 98% tenancy. Good long leases as well.
But I guess in as you're saying about being a dreamer in this industry, you have to. You have to take those goals and you have to take those risks.
Yeah, because you never knock on the door, you never know.
Exactly. You pick up the phone, you phone someone and you're like, hey, are you looking for another space? And they go, the amount of times I've had it, even in the short space, where they go, you know what, you phoned me at the perfect time. Actually, I'm looking to expand. Do you have anything here, here, and here? That's what you play. You don't show your hand, you don't say, no, I don't. You say, no, don't worry, we'll sort it out.
You make a plan.
Then you're phoning everyone.
What do I do?
All of a sudden, everyone in Straight Up Park has heard your name now. Are you looking to sell?
Because I remember the interview with Michaela, where she was like, to me at least, she was like, what made you pick property? Because she said to me, it's oftentimes something a lot of people just like stumble into, or they've been unemployed for a while, so they want to give it a go. And I was like, no, I left like a paying job to do this. Actually, she was like, okay, that's different. And like I do think about it sometimes where, listen, as great as this could be, as fun as it could be, there could be some heavy days too. Like that's it, of losing those deals where it's heavy now. You start thinking to yourself, listen, that 9 to 5 wasn't too shabby, was it?
Especially when you mentally spend your money.
Before
it comes in,
before the money comes in.
You have the plans.
And the worst part is like, I think the plans, if it's things you want, isn't as bad. But the plans about things you need. It'll break you, bro. It'll break you into, you're like, I need that clutch, man. I need those tires so bad, bro. I'm riding on slicks right now. It can get rough at times.
But yeah, look, having a strong backbone is definitely one of the things you need to be in this industry.
For sure.
And I think I keep saying it, without like the leadership that we have and the team that we have, I think it would be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, it would have been, it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
It's literally a revolving door.
100%.
I think it's also, it's a game of momentum to an extent. You know, like when you get hot, it's all about now staying hot. Doing everything you can to stay hot. Because once you build like the clientele, you build the network, you kind of know I'm gonna be alright. Like I'll be okay.
I dread the day you hit like a broker's equivalent of writer's block.
When bro,
With it, you
it
get a dark.
It happens. But like,
What were you gonna say?
No.
We're all adults.
But you get the go and take on nothing now. What can you do? Just be like, anyway,
Broker's whiskey day.
Yeah, pretty much. Essentially, broker's whiskey.
Broker's
Like, essentially, if we want some water, want some drink, you know.
So tell me more about yourself.
But I think it's also, as said, like, bar just the money aspect of it. I think 9 to 5, especially even in the office the entire day, like it gets rigid, you know. You don't really, you deal with the people that are in your immediate vicinity and nobody else. So I think the cool part about this too is the fact that you get to talk to so many different people.
Yeah.
Some you click on, some are just horrific to talk to.
Oh my goodness, I
think the lucky thing for me, obviously, you guys are coming from, have worked in 9 to 5 job before. I think the very lucky thing that I was happy to at least stumble onto was not to get into that. So I know that I know what to expect from a 9 to 5 already, and compared to this, it's like two
Mm.
worlds apart.
Yeah, not that we're shitting on 9 to 5, by
Yeah.
the way.
If
You
you
know,
each their own.
Do your thing,
Each
yeah.
their own.
wake up in the morning and you go to work. Don't forget your Tupperware and you go to work.
You sitting on traffic. You sitting
Work.
on
Yeah,
traffic.
sitting at your work. Don't get it twisted. No glitz and clams inside. Go to work.
I know we make it look good with all the TikToks and laughing and joking. But when the camera goes off, we start sweating again.
I'm not paying my rent.
No, that's one thing that's also good. Oh, debit orders hit different when you're like, where's this gonna come from? Where will this appear?
But yeah, the motivation is there. I mean, we're all grown up enough to know exactly why we're coming in here every day and what we have to do. I guess not being micromanaged is a big positive being a
Agreed.
broker.
Yeah.
You know, no one over your shoulder checking what you've done and what you haven't done. You know what you need to complete by the end of the day. Otherwise, you can't pay your rent. You can't go.
Oh,
have a
that's
beer on
kind
the
of like the
weekend.
cool thing as well. Is like 9 to 5, whether you put in 100%, 10%, or 140%, your salary is your salary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're
That,
getting
yeah,
what you're
that
getting.
is the positive of a broker. The
Yeah.
more you go, the more you can earn.
Exactly. You can tell yourself, alright, cool. Rates is X
Literally
amount.
uncapped.
Yes, exactly.
Literally uncapped.
Rates is X amount. I know, cool. If I do these 3 leases, or if I do that one sale, okay, the sale's gonna take a bit longer. Focus on the leasing, not the idiot. Focus on idiots. You know, it's like, listen, rent is due. I need 10K. If I just lease these 2 places, I'll be good. That's why I change on the side. That's, I think, for me, the part about it I like the most is the fact that you can make anything happen.
Yeah.
You can make anything happen. On
I
a
think
whim.
it's probably one of the coolest industries that I've ever seen. There might be a couple that compete, but I mean, there's nothing at this stage that I'd rather be working in other than property.
I must agree with you. The bank was boring and depressing. Logistics that just never stops. You're getting phone calls 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to put out fires. I don't think you swear as much as you do in the logistics industry.
Agreed.
And it's just sometimes it's too up and down. It's too erratic. Whereas at least with property, everyone's gonna need a property.
Yeah.
It's something that'll always move, you know. And the way we put a spin on it here at DG, I think there's no better industry to be in at the moment.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that for sure. I mean, I also worked in logistics. I went from working like 3 months of night shift. Let me tell you, you think that life can get a little crazy sometimes. Night shift, brother, night shift will force you to. It brings the autism out of you. Let me put it like that. It brings.
You're gonna need a little bit of. Let's not get cancelled.
Yeah,
It's our first episode.
It's our first episode.
what I mean is like, bro, the sheer boredom.
Boredom.
Of night shift. Getting into the office at 6 and even 6 again. The
Nah.
boredom is through the. Who are you talking to 3 in the morning? Other than drivers.
Other than driving.
You're not talking to anybody.
You know, when I was doing night shift, the worst part was like you look, trucks are stopped, then
Or they parked off.
and now you parked off, and you look at the time, like okay, just blanket on and take a quick nap.
Night shift in winter.
Yeah, I'm not leaving property. I'm leaving property.
You made the right choice, bro.
No,
You made the right
Okay.
choice.
Before we conclude, with biggest high in property so far.
Biggest high was definitely selling my first building, industrial. Yeah, I think from that, got a call literally after the post went out from a guy, and it's like, listen, I haven't seen a property being sold in Kaya Sands in a while, and I'd like to work with you. So that also just gave me, on top of selling the property, somebody actually noticing and being like, listen, that was actually good, well done, what do you want to do, how do we work
Yeah.
together? I think for me, that's been property-wise the biggest high for me.
Yeah.
I think it's also just once you've got that deal over the line, once everything has been signed, it's the key handover. The key handover is probably one of the greatest experiences you'll have, because I think everyone involved is on like such a high. Your clients who's now found their space,
Yeah.
they're on a high because they've got somewhere to work now. You're on a high because you've managed to place them there, and then it's called a spade, you've invoiced at that point. Yeah, so you also learn like, cool, there's coins coming from this one.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, it's just the key handover is one of the best experiences, because you kind of see you can literally see where your work has gone into.
Mm.
You can see the fruits of your labor. Go,
Mm.
cool, they're happy. I know that because of the relationship we fostered, should they need space ever again, they will come back to me as well. So I'd say key handovers are probably my favorite aspect of it.
Mine was the taking a shot in the dark and a client wanting more than one space.
Yeah.
That was just pure divine intervention, but it just was insane. Biggest low?
Jeez, there's a few to name. Just one?
Just one, just give me one.
My biggest low in property, I'll have to say, when you think you have a done deal, you have an OTP or a lease signed, which I've had a few, and the guys turn around and they say, for whatever reason, maybe they say no. Even if it's at asking price, they just, no, sorry, we will not be accepting this. That is like knife through the chest.
Nah, I know that.
I'm gonna second that one. There's happened to be reason I was
third
second
that one
that.
too.
I don't think there's a worse fee.
No.
I don't.
It's also that conversation you gotta have with landlords. Be like, listen, I know we were all excited, we were all looking forward to this.
It's not happening.
Yeah. Can you still send me calm?
Yeah, it's not happening.
At least give me something.
Yeah, it's not happening. I think the thing I always like in those moments is to try to tell myself like maybe there was a reason. Like it just wasn't supposed to happen.
I think that's a big deal. Asking why is
Yeah,
you have why do you want to do this? Why is this not working? Why? I think when a deal doesn't happen the first time, keep persisting with it
Yes.
is always the option,
Yeah.
because it might be the smallest detail that is actually stopping you from doing that deal.
You gotta play with the Rubik's Cube, as I always say. You just gotta figure it out, no matter what it is. A tenant's requirements being so like, you can look at it and be like, this is unattainable. How are we gonna get this size at this price in this location? And it's just playing with that Rubik's Cube all the time, trying to figure it out, getting
That's
deals
problem
over the line.
Yeah, it's a
all
lot
the time.
of problem. It's essentially
And no day is the same.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
wild.
I was literally telling Hogan like a week ago, I was like, I just want one of my deals to be something straightforward. Like, the thing is, there's nothing ever straightforward. There is
Can you imagine? Hi, I want a space. Okay. Hey, do you have space? Yes. He has it at your price. Okay, I've signed. Okay, the deposit is in the thing. Okay, are you gonna do it?
100%.
Oh my goodness, it would be incredible.
Yeah, I think the
Come has
last,
been paid.
the last question I'd ask is, with us being in the roles that we are, would you recommend this industry to anyone?
Yes.
I would.
And I would advise that people get in as young as he did.
Agreed.
Because by the time he's our age, can you imagine how much, like, how good he's gonna be, how much better he's gonna be, how much he already knows, like.
And to be honest, I'd say also the amount of responsibilities. Like, not to say he doesn't have responsibilities, of course, he's got financial responsibilities and stuff. But like closer to our ages of like 30, where I've got a kid, I've got a partner, there's a lot more kind of responsibility. Whereas if you get into the game early, before those responsibilities kick off, if you've got the first car your parents gave you, you know you're not paying for that. If hopefully you've got the type of parents that don't make you pay rent, you're not paying for rent either, you're not paying for food. Your responsibilities are so much less that if you jump into this, give it 5 solid years of just non-stop grind and graft, bit of luck too, you'll be paying.
If you don't give up and you start like at your age, and you obviously had an eagerness to learn, you put your head down, you focus, that's why you're as good as you are. If you do it that way, by the time you, like 8 years from now, when you're 30 years old, jeez, I can't even imagine. I wish I started at your age. Okay.
Do we get it?
Okay, slowly.
No, we understand. No, we get it. It's a long time, huh?
This is where we're going to conclude that. Alright, so hope to see you guys for the next episode of Structured Nonsense, sponsored by DG Property with the 3 brown men.
Structured nonsense.